The dictator in Syria imprisoned children. This horrible image came today out of Syria when they were going through the most notorious political prison and letting people go. And out of one cell came a woman, and then behind her, this little boy. This reminded me of a story I just saw today. Michel Kilo, a famous civil rights, human rights defender in Syria. I'm going to show you him and tell you what happened. Kilo tells the story a few years ago of being in prison, again, for political beliefs. And a guard comes to him and befriends him and says, I want you to come down the hall with me. He comes down the hall. There's a little boy in a cell, 4 or 5 years old. He says, very cute, dark hair. The mother's there. The mother is terrified, curled into a ball in the corner, thinking he's there to beat her. He says, I'm here. The guard tells him, tell the boy a story. He says, okay. He says, I'm here to tell your son a story. And the mother doesn't respond. So he turns to the son and he says, there was this bird. And the boy turns to him and says, what's a bird? And he realizes the boy has never been out of this prison cell. He's been here his entire life. He was born there. What happened was the boy's father had fled to Jordan, and Assad, the dictator who was just overthrown, took the mother hostage. She was pregnant at the time, had her thrown in prison. She gives birth, and he leaves the mother and her child in prison, basically forever. It's now been 4 or 5 years. So he turns to the boy and realizes this boy has never been out of a prison cell. He doesn't know what a bird is. So he said, he goes, I just continue. So I said, there was this bird. It was in a tree. And the boy says, what's a tree? And at this point he realizes, I can't tell this kid a story. Literally, this kid knows nothing outside of the cell. What am I going to tell? Literally, there's nothing I can tell him he's going to understand. He says, finally, all I can do is, he says, I start singing a song. I start thinking of a nursery rhyme. And so I tell a famous, Syrian nursery rhyme song to this kid. He goes, I finish. I go to the door. And the guard says, did you tell him a story? And he tells the guard with tears in his eyes, get me out of here. I'm suffocating. This is what has been happening in Syria for the last 50 years under the Assad family. This man, the dictator, and his father. Yeah, we don't know what's coming next. The people who overthrow the government are not great, right? Supposedly they're reformed, but we don't know. But these poor people have been living under the most brutal dictatorship for 54 years or so now. Maybe we should just be happy for them and then see where things go.